Oh boy. Whoa. Welcome to Infinity Rewatch.
Yeah.
He's Ryan.
What's up? And he's Fantasia.
Hello. Okay, this is a big deal. Because, at the end of every episode of our show, Ryan, we always tell people to have a marvelous day, right? That's our thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Not this time.
It's so weird because since the last time we had an episode, I have had not just a marvelous day, but a marvelous week.
Oh, snap.
Literally.
Yeah.
For 4 big reasons. Number 1, finale of Moon Knight. Number 2, it's Doctor Strange. Tonight, after this. Number 3, my board game, right? Marvel United came in the mail, and it's as beautiful as you think it is. There's a video on the channel right now where you can see what it looks like. I can't wait to have this guy come over and play it. But number 4, and I think you'll find this the most cool.
I didn't even know there's 4.
There is a 4th one. It's a surprise. I have started getting my mom into the MCU.
No way.
Yes.
Mama Fantasia is getting into it.
She's into it.
Girl.
We just finished Thor 1.
Of course.
And I asked her at the end, I was like, so what do you think of this movie? I didn't tell her anything beforehand of how I feel about it, whatever. She was like, I really liked it. She's like, I liked it more than I thought I would. I'm like, yay! She likes Thor 1. So she had a really amazing mom quote during the film, because obviously Thor is a good-looking gentleman.
He is. She's gonna love Ragnarok.
She's definitely gonna love Ragnarok. But she was eating up the Thor goodness. And at one point in the movie, when he was at his most Thor, she said to me, "Is there an action doll of him?"
And the answer is yes.
Yes, there is, Mom. You can find it at your local retailer right now.
She's going to get into the collecting now. Yeah. She's going to start her own YouTube series. It's going to be a whole thing.
Wow. So there are people who bash on Thor 1, which included me. Somebody likes Thor 1. There we go.
I look back, and not to go tangent here, not to go super tangent, but I look back, and there are some solid moments of Thor 1.
Yes, there are.
The overarching movie's got a lot of flaws, but there are some solid moments.
Ooh, yeah.
The battle Loki versus Thor, mwah. Battle for Thor getting his hammer, mwah. Mm-hmm. Oh, there are some real golden nuggets in that one, but overall, does it fix an ultimately broken story?
No. And I don't know if it's because I watched it with somebody who was looking at it through new eyes, but it was better this time than it was last time we saw it for the show.
Yeah, I can imagine that for sure. But today, we're talking about Moon Knight, people.
Moon Knight. Every day I wake up, then I start to break up. Lonely as a moon night without love. There you go. You get that for free.
That's it.
The rest, you got to pay.
Got to pay by the second.
I noticed something weird when we watched the episode yesterday, is that Disney Plus didn't upload a title at first.
That's right.
It just said episode 6, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen the title now?
No.
It's called Gods and Monsters.
Oh, I wonder why they put it like that.
Yeah, I think it was just a mistake. They forgot to probably...
Or maybe they just wanted to kind of set expectations.
Oh, that's even smarter.
Because I think they're actually getting to a point where they're starting to divide the fans a little bit. Because they know they have their gung-hos, and they have their people in the front of the theater, and they have the people in the back of the theater. And again, the people in the back of the theater may not be as like gung-ho as it there. And we got Q, the composer, saying, "Can't wait to watch at work, but love your content. Keep pushing."
Thank you, Q. And if you're a real composer, I want to hear your music.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to throw your comment up here, but you know what?
Yeah, throw it. You know what? I like that. I like that name, that screen name so much, because it sounds like a Guardians of the Galaxy character. This is Tannelir Devon the Collector and Q the composer.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. This episode, though, is definitely exciting. So as you're listening to it, today, let's talk about it. Let's get into it here, as I'm all over the place.
All right. So Moon Knight episode 6. It was a shorter episode.
6 minutes.
Yeah, it was a quick episode, but it did everything it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And what we ended up getting was a beautiful kind of. I think it was a thing that we didn't really expect going in that we would get, but I'm glad it happened, which is Steven and Mark are one now.
Yes.
But not in the sense of like Steven is gone. They're a team now. And that's really cool. And it's sweet because last week we're looking at it, we're like, yeah, Steven kind of has to go because it's Mark healing. But we like Steven. And he's a sweet man. And he's got a weird accent because he's doing a fake British because he's basing it off a movie he saw. But we love the man because he's lovable and he knows about Egyptian mythology. So it's nice that they didn't get rid of him and they found a way to keep Steven part of this package deal. I think that's really, really nice.
It's funny because you were very adamant about this throughout the entire series, but you were talking about the phases of the moon at the end of each credits, right?
Right.
And in the show, there are different phases of the moon, as we saw when the shots are on it. In the very first episode, it's a waxing crescent, and it slowly goes half to all the way full. But when it goes full, he's actually a fully realized character, and he's able to switch from Steven to Mark on the dime. He's a very actualized thing. And so I kudos to you for paying attention to that. Actually, this is really sharp eye there. So this episode actually offers a lot. It is, and if we kind of, you know what, I'm going to say it. We officially did it for our first episode. We actually pretty much predicted how this was going to play out, which is the final episode is a complete wrap up, and it's a total all out brawl with a fully actualized Moon Knight in action. Now, did we guess every single little trinket? No. But we did predict kind of the plot of the entire show and how it was going to play out.
Yes, it hit all the beats, especially like you with the Moon Knight story beats that you are familiar with, knowing the character. It hit the beats, not only that you suspected it would, but kind of when you suspected it would.
Yes.
And we end up with something that I think is really neat because something about the climax of this, I like how it feels big and small. It feels big because we had two literal gods fighting on a pyramid. A crocodile lady and a dead bird man fought on top of the Pyramid of Giza, and that just made me really happy. But also, it just comes down to, at the end of the day, the climax of this was waking up and stopping Harrow.
Yes.
And like that, it wasn't this, it didn't end up tying into the MCU, and, they call Kang, and he's like, here I am. So I like the smallness while still being big, which is a reason why I loved the climax of Eternals, because it was this huge thing that changes the world, but it's not like they had to, call War Machine and be like, come help us win this fight either. So I love how they straddled that fence so skillfully, and I hope more of the shows continue to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, it's pretty crazy with Moon Knight in this episode because we got the battle with Amit. We got to see Amit in action. But I'm also pretty excited to announce that we also saw the reveal of another hero, which is Layla as the Scarlet Scarab. Layla as the Scarlet Scarab was a really cool reveal. Spoilers, by the way, in case you haven't watched it, but I feel like if you're watching the show, you would have watched it by now.
Wait a minute, I thought she was Wonder Woman 1984.
That's what Wonder Woman 1984.
It's Ryan's
favorite
favorite movie.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Ryan and Anna love that movie. I can't get them to stop talking about it.
Yeah, it's so terrible. So anyway, it's so bad. Anyway, but we get her reveal as the Scarlet Scarab, and it was cool to see because, first of all the gods are dying. So there's kind of a nice theme of gods being killed, which is kind of interesting, in case you're interested in what's going on with the MCU. The other side of this is that we get to see her in her full regalia, and it's a really nice nod to her father, who is the archaeologist, and who we learned a few episodes back is the Scarlet Scarab, who his role, and funny enough, Marvel came out with a Marvel 101 today about Layla, and said the very description that her father did, which is they steal and protect relics and of history, and then especially Egyptian.
Interesting.
Those of Egyptian relics. So in Layla's description, they said the exact same thing. Her role is to protect and preserve historical relics, and so it's a full kind of full round circle here back to this character, the Scarlet Scarab. And it was also a nice nod to mention that, the director, Mohammed, he said that his daughter always tried to straighten her hair because she never saw a female superhero with her type of hair. So it was a real nice kind of, one big full circle moment, bringing everything together. So
that's beautiful. And if I remember right, when at the top of the show, when you were telling me about who Layla was, you said she's kind of a mishmash of a couple characters.
Yeah, she's kind of a blended two characters in one.
Okay. In the comics, is Layla also Scarlet Scarab, or is that a new thing they threw into this?
Yeah, the father.
There's a puppy here, by the way.
Yeah, there's my dog Cabbage.
Yeah, I'll hold this here.
Yeah, just in case he wants to go through.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes. So what happens is the Scarlet Scarab has a son, and he dons the Scarlet Scarab mantle. And so they just changed it this way now for the daughter to do it. And the daughter is kind of the archaeologist. Yeah, so essentially, instead of a son, it's a daughter. And the daughter wears the Scarlet Scarab regalia through the gods, which is really cool. Whereas the original Scarlet Scarab just makes his own costume.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And I liked her. I mean, she fought a mummy. I can't stress that enough. She fought and beat a mummy.
Yeah.
So if anybody deserves to wear that scarab, it's probably her.
With the strength of Ra.
With the strength of Ra. Mummy's alive.
Yeah.
Oh!
But although it's the strength of Twalid or whatever.
Strength of Tawaret, the pregnancy hippo. In the comics, is Scarlet Scarab, in fact, scarlet? Is the costume red? Okay.
Costume is red, which they do a nod to, and when you get a good look at her outfit in the right lighting, it is a red kind of shirt.
Oh.
And there's a scarab right on her, like just above her chest.
Oh, cool. I missed out on the red. I just saw the gold wings and I was like, Wonder Woman.
Well, most of the shots are in the dark, right? Because it's nighttime. Yeah. But then, so another cool thing that I wanted to talk about with the reference of the comics is Moon Knight. First of all, we kind of get to see him first of all, he doesn't fly normally, but I did mention that the different phases of the moon means he gets different levels of power.
Right.
So full moon, he gets full power, and he can do quite a few things. So think of it like a Super Saiyan Moon Knight, right? The interesting thing here is they pay a nod to his copter, his crescent copter. And the way they do that is when he goes into the air, he makes the moon shape that looks exactly like the copter, and then he flies through the air. So that was a really cool nod. And I thought it was kind of neat because, again, I don't think we're ready for kind of like a Batwing, kind of nod. I think it was kind of smart to just make him fly because he is a very supernatural, godlike character. I think it fits. It kind of works. And again, in the comics, when he gets a full moon, he has a whole wide variety of powers that he doesn't even know he has access to. So I think it kind of plays in the laws of, like, if you're a comic book purist, kind of plays in those laws and allows it to play out.
I like this better. I like that they take advantage of the supernatural stuff. It's more unique. We've got enough billionaire superheroes.
And that brings to question, actually, which I think probably should be the main kind of theme of the stream, is that this is the first time where you didn't know much about the character from the comics, and it's brought to life through the MCU. So after seeing this, do you feel more interested in the comic book character Moon Knight?
That is a great question. In reading more comics, I would say no, but that's not a bash against the show. I don't think any of the MCU movies had made me want to read more of the if anything, they've made me want to read the classic comics, just like that poster you've got there, the Kirby stuff, because it's as colorful as the MCU is. But it did give me a deeper appreciation of Moon Knight and how cool he can be, because literally it was just all I knew was like, he is a superhero who's Jewish, but he has Egyptian powers, and he has a dissociative identity disorder. And I didn't know how those pieces came together to create a whole work of art. Now I've seen the work of art, and it's beautiful, and it lives up to the hype you've been throwing, the hype your shirt's been throwing, and the hype Marvel Ultimate Alliance threw back in 2007 when that game came out. There was one thing that I was wrong about in one of my predictions. Was I predicted we were going to see the staff, or no, I just wanted to see the staff. I think that was just my happy checklist. He used what do you call them though, like the sticks?
Right? Yeah, the Eskrima sticks.
Yes, the Eskrima sticks, but no staff yet.
Well, I mean, we saw Khonshu use the staff and just totally boom in there. But yeah, the Moon Knight didn't use the staff, but he did use the darts, which was cool. The moon darts, which is pretty cool. I love that they actually come off of his chest, which is pretty neat. In the comics, he kind of has like it kind of comes off his like wrists, like his bracers, because they kind of like cover his whole arm and to protect him. But he can also like break off pieces and throw them, which is pretty cool.
Oh, neat.
And I mean, the fight scenes were just drooling gorgeous. Now, interesting enough is we did it. We got the introduction of Jake Lockley.
Now this is, I mean, I wanted to kind of touch on Jake right from the top of, like, as soon as the episode started and I was playing it, I was thinking about Jake, and it's so weird because, you know, when you're excited during a Marvel thing or whatever, and you're like, you know, with, let's say, Loki, for example, I think we all kind of knew in the Loki show that Kang was going to be part of it.
Yes.
Right. So going through the Loki show, yes, you're happy, you're excited, you're watching Loki, and all this great stuff is happening, but you're also thinking in the back of your brain, like, Kang is coming. I'm going to get to see Kang. Like, what are they going to do? As this episode started, just this finale, I started having that excitement for Jake. And it was so, it baffled me because I have no context for Jake other than you telling me he's another personality who's a cab driver. Like,
he's a driver, but yeah, he drives. Most of the time he drives cabs.
So it was like, it's not like it's something where I'm so excited I finally get to see Jake on the big screen. But just something about the way that you built him up and the show built him up. Like, I would have been fine through episodes 1 through 5. If we never ended up getting Jake in the show, I would have been fine. But for some reason, at the start of episode 6, I was just like, man, this Jake is going to be a big deal. Even some of my students, like little young ones, like a 10-year-old, she was like, hey, Andrew, you know who Jake Lockley is? I heard a theory about Moon Knight. And I'm like, yeah, so it's out there. His name is floating around. So it was a big deal to have him finally be part of this.
Absolutely. To me, as a comic book fan, what he did was absolutely brilliant, because for me, I was going, when are they going to do it? When are they going to do Jake Lockley? And then, like we even said in the last little bit there, which is, like we even said in the last little couple episodes there, is like, does it really matter if Jake's in it? I think it does, though, because as we are told, they have no future plans for Moon Knight. This is it. They're not going to do another series, and they're not going to do another series. And so, with that in mind, I think it was actually really smart to check off the last box and give us Jake. It was so smart, because now for me, I see the full character. I know what Jake Lockley is like. He's every bit the character that we saw, except he does speak English. But I know what the character's like. I know that experience. So to me, it's kind of just like, here you go, here's your character, and it was perfect.
I'm glad that he lived up to the hype, like, because there's so little I knew about him. I'm like, are they going to do him right? And the thing with that ending and with seeing him, it was so. I had like a thought on the tip of my brain. Keep riffing, keep talking about Jake, and I know I'll find it. Let me check my notes.
So with Jake, it's interesting because, first of all, what we know about this character is he's ultra violent. He is like super ultra violent. And the other interesting thing about him is he's kind of the informant. He's always getting the information you need when you need it. So it's kind of an interesting part there. And so that, to me, was a key element, and I love that they kept nodding to it. And of course, you could think it was Khonshu the whole time. But the other beautiful thing about it is that, again, they completed the character. And to me now, it's like I could be no more happier if they just throw him in some cameo appearances, like some big scenes, and he's like another kind of like a side Avenger character. You know what I mean? Like, he's on the team, he's on the roster, and they bring him in every once in a while. So that, to me, is like perfect. And Alex, yes, it's going well, and we are glad that you have arrived. I just need to establish. Look at that.
Hello, Alex.
You got Rumble in the picture there. I love it.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, the Jake thing. I remembered my thought, and I promise it's worth it. And it's the whole fact of the matter, like what you just said about Moon Knight being a one-off show, as most of these shows except Loki have been.
Yeah.
And what I found really cool about this is the Jake Lockley of it all, to throw him in there at the end, being what he is and who he is and doing what he does. It, for the first time in the Disney Plus shows, a one-off show doesn't really conclude. It's a really big cliffhanger to leave on a one-off show. And so now it makes me all the more curious. I'm glad that there's no Moon Knight season 2, because now I'm like salivating kind of like your puppy there was a minute ago when he poured all that kibble. I'm salivating because I'm like, where are we going to see Jake next? There's no Moon Knight 2, so he could literally show up. He could show up tonight in Doctor Strange for all we know, or he could show up, we could have to wait until the Fantastic Four movie. We don't know, but he's coming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's coming. And again, we're going to see him in whatever form he comes in. But you're right. We may see him in Doctor Strange. I think it's a bit unlikely. More likely is Thor or Black Panther. Is my money is like that's where he has total justification to appear, especially with all these gods being eliminated this whole experience.
Yeah, the Thor. I had like a daydream when the episode ended of like, if we had gotten a Gore cameo in the show, what it would have been like.
Oh, yeah.
It was just Khonshu walks into a dark room, right? And you don't see what's in the room, but you hear him talking to Gore. But to save money, I'm sorry, this is awful. To save money, they just use the audio from Christian Bale's Freak Out.
No.
So it's like, what are you doing in my pyramid? Oh, look at you. You're so unprofessional, man. I'm going to kick your ass, man.
It's so funny. That would be really the weirdest thing.
I'm sorry, everybody.
That's kind of like a Taika humor, like I could see him pulling something like that. But so the interesting thing for me is, again, this is a fully actualized comic book character. He hit all the notes that you needed to hit. You got your 3 personalities plus Moon Knight, and on top of that, you see him wearing his traditional outfit, and then you see him in Mr. Knight outfit. You get to see him fight. You get to see him work with other characters. You get the whole package for what Moon Knight's all about. And I think that's why it's also a salivating moment to leave you with this cliffhanger, because it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like they subverted expectations. Again, someone like me, they gave me Jake Lockley right at the last possible minute. And now at this point, it's like, if we get any Moon Knight, it's going to be exciting. It's just going to be exciting. Because at the same time, we know his story now. That's the other thing. You may be salivating for more story, but at the same time, no matter what capacity you see him in, doesn't matter. You know who Moon Knight is. That's, I think, what the show literally set out to do. Is like, who is Moon Knight? What is it? Couple of fun facts you should know. The fish tank. Interesting. Did you look at the fish tank specifically?
In this new episode, when he wakes up at the end?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
If you actually, the fish tank was a foreshadowing of the entire plot, because in the fish tank was the Gates of Osiris, the boat from Tel Aviv, and also the Pyramid of Giza.
Whoa.
So it does a full circle thing there. Also, fun moment, and this is kind of is a good segue to talk about the future of Moon Knight. So first of all, in one of the first 2 episodes, we saw a QR code. If you scanned it, you got a comic book. And I thought that was, again, brilliant marketing. Of course, nobody knew. Again, even the people in the front of the theater didn't know about this, or not a lot of them anyway. But there was another QR code in this one. And if you scan it, it's actually a pretty sweet comic. It's Moon Knight versus Kang. And it's like a bunch of Moon Knights. And it's interesting because in the show Loki, they talk about it. And to be fair, I didn't discover this through watching the show. I watched other people watching it, and they found these little moments. And I did see the QR code, but it's a blink of an eye fast. Like, it's super fast. You got to be really paying attention. But if you scan it, it's the battle with Kang versus Moon Knight, but it's different Moon Knights across different timelines. And in Loki, he does say, when you fight the devil, if you kill me, you have 2 options. If you kill me, then you're going to fight infinite versions of the devil. If you keep me alive, then you'll have to fight one devil.
Right.
So does that not mean the same thing for Moon Knight? Are we going to see, now that the timeline's been totally shattered, are we going to see different versions of Moon Knight? I
think it definitely means he's going to be there for the fight with Kang. It's too good an opportunity, and they wouldn't.
Absolutely. I mean, I think possibly we're gonna. It looks like we're getting a Secret Wars, and with that, we're gonna get like a Secret Avengers within the Secret Wars. I don't think we're gonna get a direct copy of the Secret Wars. Like, I think we may get Doom, we may get Kang, but I think Kang will be like the ultimate villain, and we'll get characters like Moon Knight, Mr. Fantastic, and America Chavez.
I read something recently about how if they were to adapt Secret Wars, somebody was theorizing like Beyonder would be replaced with somebody, and I can't remember who they said. Maybe it was Kang.
I believe Kang could be the Beyonder
yeah.
at this point.
Like it's just an easier way to kind of swallow that Secret Wars pill is to just kind of take the Beyonder. He's a weird character to begin with, to just like, hey, I'm the most powerful thing ever. Go fight because I said so, and to kind of just take that and just make it a bit more plausible and attach it to what's been going on. But that, I mean, that's phase 6 or something. Who knows what that is? Question for you. Do you feel like, now that we've seen the whole thing, of all the Disney Plus shows they've done so far, do you feel like Moon Knight is the one that feels the most like a traditional superhero movie?
Yes, hands down. Hands down. I think actually, do I think it would have been, like, from a business standpoint, would it have been successful if it launched as a movie? I don't think it would have. I honestly think that Disney Plus was the perfect platform to tell a story. It was the right medium, and it really explored, and it's not like your traditional tropes or anything like that. So it kind of, I think it deserved to be on this kind of platform and still get the luster for it. A lot of people I've seen are saying, I love Moon Knight, like I love the show. And, you know, I still get some people saying, I don't know why I loved it, but I loved it. And I think it's kind of the same Iron Man effect, you know, which is what they set out. Another thing they set out to do with this show was they set out to do the fact of they wanted a character that's going to bring in new audience. And I think Moon Knight definitely did that.
And that's a good way to bring them in. You don't necessarily have to bog them down with continuity. I think if it had been a movie, you're right, it wouldn't have been as successful. So I think if it had been a movie, to make it more successful, they would have put like gore in there or something.
Oh, absolutely.
They would have thrown a tie-in. But
they would have, again, yeah, they would have pushed it for a little kind of marketing experience. You know what I mean? Like it didn't need anything.
No.
And this is one of those movies like Iron Man where it's very experimental. It's very experimental.
Yes, it is.
And I love that. I cannot wait to see if Marvel's going to go back to that. My money is that Doctor Strange is going to bring us that same feeling. It's going to be very experimental.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing from reviews already, it's kind of has the reviewers split. So to me, Moon Knight is a perfect example of Marvel keeping experimental, try to find that indie feel where you're trying something new and you're not pushing for like the big pushes.
And they've been so good in the shows with the big emotional payoff of the characters. Sometimes it's you find some movies can miss that. So far, MCU has been pretty good with not missing it. But in the shows in particular, I guess just because we've had more time to spend with these people. But I mean, there's a quote that I wrote down that was like so beautiful in this finale. I was like almost crying. Where is it here? Mark says to Steven, "You are the only real superpower I ever had."
Oh, I love that. Oh, it's so good.
That goes up there for me with Vision telling Wanda the thing about love, right? Like that's it. That's
that Marvel moment.
Yes.
You know, the sincere Marvel moment.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of Marvel moments, there was a very non-Marvel moment in this. At least it reminded me of something not Marvel. When the cult is killing everybody and all their spirits are being drawn to the Great Pyramid. Didn't that look like the climax of Ghostbusters?
It did.
Right?
It totally did.
Harrow is just basically trying to raise Gozer. Oh.
Sorry, Cabbage.
Sorry, Cabbage. My microphone is killing you.
There you go.
There you go. Harrow's basically just trying to resurrect Gozer.
100%. Just definitely Gozer the Conqueror here. And so, absolutely, I definitely felt the parallel there. But at the same time, again, this was a fun exploration of a new Marvel experience.
Yes, it was. And I'm happy that they did it this way. I don't think I would have wanted this show any other way. I love it how it is. Now I'm just so excited to just be surprised when he pops up again. I don't want to know when we're going to see him again until we're seeing him again.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I don't know. We're kind of drawn, like we're kind of going in circles here. But I can't say it enough. Like I am so happy to see the limo. That was a direct comic book nod. The look, the shape, the feel, everything.
That's a beautiful limo too.
Comic book nod. Jake looks exactly like he does in the comics. But at this point, the character is fully actualized. It's a complete story. Even though it leaves a little room for where this could go from here, you could leave it there and you would still have enough story to just walk away.
Beautiful. It is. I think it's up there with WandaVision for my favorite of these shows.
Ooh.
I think it's like right. I think it's a hair under WandaVision.
So out of the Infinity Stones, what would you give it?
Ooh, that's right. I forgot we got to give it a stone. Oh boy. Okay. I think I'm giving it 5 stones. Maybe 5.5.
All right.
5.5 sounds right. I think 5.5. I think the only thing that would nudge it for me is honestly maybe just a more interesting villain.
Yeah, but again, I mean, to be fair, and there's nothing against what's his name?
Ethan Hawke.
To be fair, I mean, you're right. Like, I look back with Iron Man and like Obadiah Stane was such a B-listing villain, but he sold it as if it were an A-listing villain. Like,
exactly.
But I'd say Ethan Hawke did do really well. I've been pretty generous with these, but I'm going to give one anyway. I'd give it a Gauntlet. From a comic book perspective, they checked a lot of boxes for me.
Yes.
And they literally adjusted very little and gave us a lot. Like it was, and some smart things they did, like the QR comic book thing. I hope the rest of the shows / movies do this. Like just throw in a small little, because like we talked about Spider-Man Far From Home, and we talked about how there's so many, license plates and little nods here and there to different comic books. Throw in a QR code, scan it, boom, this is one you should check out. Brilliant. That is the coolest thing I've seen in a movie yet. And honestly, I also give it a Gauntlet because as someone who read the comic book for Moon Knight, I love seeing him come to life in the MCU world. And again, like I could be so happy if they, like, I wouldn't be any happier. Even if they continue it, I would be just as happy. Hey, that's great. If they stop it here and I see him in other projects where he comes in, does some cool action, maybe drops a little Steve Grant accent here and there, sure. But in the end, this was a complete story. And it brought the Moon Knight story to life perfectly. And they did the new take on the origin stories where they didn't spoon feed you the entire origin story. They gave you moments and snapshots saying, hey, this is what happened. And from your own knowledge of the story, because we did a video on it.
He did a video on it. This beautiful man right here.
We did a video on it.
Great video on
where you see his origin story. And now and knowing's half the battle. But now you know the story. So all you needed to know was Bushman was there. Archaeologist killed. Mark Spector left for dead near the statue of Khonshu. There you go. There's your origin story. And how do they do it in MCU? They literally go, oh yeah, I was with the guy, Bushman. We killed some people. I was really depressed about it. And I was left for dead by a statue. That was Khonshu. It's perfect. And
they're so good at those modern origins now that I'm really excited and curious to see how they take that treatment to Miss Marvel. Because there's somebody else who I know jack squat about. I don't even know what powers they're giving her because apparently she's not stretchy anymore. She's something else. So I want them to tell her origin story in this creative way too. And I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked to see what they do with her.
Now, in terms of the order, because you kind of left us in the conversation of, you love this, you love WandaVision as number 1, then you love Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight surpasses to you Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Yes. I'd say Moon Knight is like right under WandaVision.
So if you had a top list, number 1 being WandaVision, number 2 is now Moon Knight.
Number 2 is now Moon Knight. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's a very different show from what I would have expected. But you're right, it ticks all the right boxes in a very elegant way. So much so that it feels like it's doing it right under your nose and you don't even realize it's ticking those boxes.
Yeah.
Something like Loki, for example, which I love too, ticks the boxes, but it's more sort of in your face about it. So yeah, Moon Knight just kind of kept elevating itself with all this beautiful character stuff. The Mark Steven thing, just give me those 2 guys again, please. So yeah, it pushed it up. It surpassed Hawkeye for the number 2 spot for me, and there it is.
I'm going to try to do this, and viewers, there's a couple viewers and listeners. There's a couple things I want to ask you guys. 1,
what's your social security number?
1, did you like Moon Knight? 2, if this is your first time learning about Moon Knight, does it make you want to read the comics or check out more about Moon Knight? And 3, does this affect your list of top Disney Plus shows for Marvel? For me, definitely Moon Knight climbs up very fast. I would say for me, actually, Loki's number 1 because Loki was just brilliant storytelling with a lot of heart-wrenching moments. And then I would definitely agree. Moon Knight, second place for sure. Just it was the perfect introduction for a new character, and in Marvel history, the first time a character's been introduced
in a show. That's right.
Then number 3 for me would be WandaVision. 4 would be Hawkeye, only because of our big Willie. But Hawkeye overall is a great show. I loved Haley. She was so much fun to watch. I loved her kind of reactions and stuff like that.
And on a side note, if she wants to call me, she can.
And the beautiful Echo. Oh my God, I love you, Echo. Echo, the actress that plays her is just absolutely stunning. And then, I'm a little surprised, but Falcon and Winter Soldier for me is slowly going down the list. And it's not because it's bad. I love it, but it didn't offer as much as the other ones have in really creative ways. Like Loki introducing, we know he's Kang, but he's called He Who Remains.
Yeah.
He Who Remains. So the Kang surprise. WandaVision had so many surprises. The resurrection of Vision, Spectre.
I always forget her name.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna bother me now.
I've heard Spectrum. I've heard Photon.
Photon.
Okay.
Oh, that's it. Sorry. Photon. No, because photons are mother. Never mind. Okay. We'll come back to that. Anyway.
that lady you saw once.
And then on top of that, the Quicksilver surprise. And Agatha and the Underground.
And the Darkhold.
Yeah, so many surprises. Unbelievable. And the kids. The twins. Those were another.
Darcy and Jimmy Woo coming back.
Yeah. Jimmy Woo coming back. Like WandaVision had so much to offer, but Loki, I think, as a complete story with emotional moments for a character, for a villain, by the way, let's put that in there. Kind of an anti-hero if you want to be debatable about it. Great surprises there, but the Kang surprise, very Wizard of Oz theme, was very well done. And then Moon Knight was just a refreshing, new, experimental perspective on a very weird hero. And again, they pulled from the B roster. I'm very excited about that. Because again, as long as they're on this path, keep bringing them out. Bring out Firestar. Bring out, let's see other characters, right, that we don't normally pay attention to. Night Thrasher, Darkhawk. I would love to see Darkhawk be taken in there. But yeah, I'm a little surprised because Falcon Winter Soldier was a great series. They had some great characters and great moments, but overall, they're being completely dwarfed by these newer shows that are just, and even WandaVision just had some crazier surprises than Falcon Winter Soldier did. But in the end, I still love the action Falcon Winter Soldier. It just doesn't hit that high.
It was just a solid, good show.
Yeah,
and then everything else just
had surprises, creative surprises. But yeah, so that's my list right there, and I have to give it a gauntlet because again, it was just a great introduction of a new hero in a really fun way.
I should write down what you gave it because I usually write those things down. Andrew, be on the ball, Andrew. Here we go. All right, so you gave it a gauntlet, and I gave it a 5.5.
There you go. So,
Infinity.
I can't wait to see that list at some point.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, so we could do a little grid, little squares, and then put gauntlets and stars and numbers. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, What If for me in terms of the Marvel Disney Plus shows is definitely the bottom. I'd have to say, unfortunately, it's just it had all the right things to make it work, but in the end, the formula just fell flat on its face. But the interesting thing is with Doctor Strange, that might fix it.
Yes, Doctor Strange is going to do a lot of things posthumously for What If, and I think it's going to make us more excited for What If Season 2, which is apparently this summer again. And it's also going to, I think it's going to change a lot of people's minds on just where that falls, right? And it's weird because it's I don't discount it just for being animated. I mean, you're talking to a guy who worships at the altar of the Clone Wars, like animation, whatever. There's no, I'm colorblind when it comes to that, but it's just the fact that it was not only so different in terms of its visual style, but just in terms of how it's telling stories that at the moment don't really matter in a franchise built on every story matters.
Yeah.
So if they're only going to matter in Doctor Strange, cool. I don't
fix it.
It could fix it. I don't think that would. I think that would still keep it in last place for me personally, and I'm fine with that. But like, I just think that's the kind of show they wanted to make, and they made that show, and it works as that show.
I agree. I mean, it's gonna feel like patchwork, to be honest with me, with the way it's playing out in the trailers. Is like just like, hey, we did it so that this story could work in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that being said, yeah, I don't know. Overall, I don't think it will lift anywhere in the ladder, but it might make it a more enjoyable experience having known the answers. Because again, the other thing I have to mention before we kind of wrap things up here is
like a mummy.
Ooh, I like what you did there. Is the other thing here is that we don't even know where the saga is going right now.
No.
We have no idea.
We're still in the dark. It's so cool.
And what I'm excited about is, to be fair, Black Widow was great. Eternals was okay. Like, Eternals was good. I should say Eternals was good, but it was overall, it's kind of a little hard to accept. Let's leave it at that. But it's in terms of the story of the saga, it's been a rocky ride a little bit to get traction. The only movies that really gave it traction was Shang-Chi and Spider-Man No Way Home. So this is the next movie that could give us a lot more answers. And I think that's a great place to kind of get to the wrapping up point, because we're going to be watching it in less than 2 hours.
Oh boy. That's right. In less than 2 hours, we will be in the multiverse of I still remember the night that title was announced, because it was my cousin's wedding. And we were texting each other with the big Phase 4 slate. And we saw that title, and I think that got us both the most excited.
Oh, yeah. I'm so stoked. I mean, so many questions.
Hey, Disney Daisy, how are you?
Disney Daisy. I'm gonna say it in the accent I think that Desi wants me to put it in, which is hello there. And there you go. That's my Obi-Wan for you.
Come on out, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, so there's a lot. I have a lot of questions about this movie, and there's been and friends, I'm going to put the warning out there now. Unless you are going to see it tonight, tomorrow, weekend, whatever, avoid the internet. Like, it is bad. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I was going through YouTube to get some videos I needed for work and stuff, and they played a new trailer with new clips.
Oh God, no!
During the ad, which is something you can't skip. So now, mind you, it gave me 5 seconds. So what I did was, once I saw it, I literally counted 5 seconds in my head, plugged my ears, and closed my eyes, because I knew because they put in the YouTube playlist for Marvel that there's a clip about the Illuminati. And once they said that, I was like, no, I got it. Like, just get out. Like, it was enough of a nod in the trailer to put what we could see as Xavier, and we're pretty sure it is. But it's getting to a point now where when you put a clip about it, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to. You've already given me more than enough to be excited. Honestly, Marvel, you need one teaser, one trailer, one clip. That's it.
That's it.
And the clip could be random action nonsense. It doesn't even have to have any context. Nothing. One teaser, one trailer, one clip. That's all you need. People will come to see the movie. That you don't even need to try. People will come to see the movie.
And this is not a long movie, so the more you show me, the less is going to be new when I get in there. So just keep it, like he said, one teaser, one trailer. I'm not even going to watch the clip, but you can put the clip out for other people.
Well, because they do the talk shows and they have the show clip. But yeah, one teaser, one trailer, one clip. Look at Thor. Thor had one. Ragnarok was the teaser, which was the Led Zeppelin thing. People went nuts. The movie sold itself at that point. The trailer gave us story, gave us context. We were all in for it. And they did one clip, which is the Hulk versus Thor moment, and it was perfect. That's all we needed. Nothing more, nothing less. It was perfect. So yeah, that's my little rant. I'm gonna bring it in, gonna bring it back, but very exciting. We're gonna be seeing it very soon. We have a lot of questions, but don't worry, we're gonna be back and we're gonna film it, and we're gonna stream it. So we're gonna talk about it. Now we're gonna make sure to warn you, spoilers ahead.
Yeah, spoilers will be happening.
But you can at least come for the intro and be shocked and just totally blown away by our reaction. I'm sure our heads will explode.
We will be doing witchcraft during the whole episode too. Yes. Well, thank you for sticking with us for all of Moon Knight. I hope you liked the show just as much as we did, because clearly we liked it. Clearly his shirt likes it. Before we go, Ryan, really quickly, give me a 2-item checklist of what you want in Multiverse of Madness.
Oh my God. 2 things I want. I want the Illuminati, and I want to be able to see Reed Richards, Namor, and obviously Professor X. And who's the other one I wanted to see?
Black Bolt.
Of course, Black Bolt. I want to see Black Bolt. And finally, I want to see Tom Cruise's superior armor Iron Man. That's going to be fun. And the only other thing I want that I'm expecting to see, or I'm interested in knowing, is if this Professor X from, not spoilery, but this Professor X could be the anchor we need to prove that the X-Men cartoon is MCU.
Oh my God, that is where my
that's all I want.
Too.
Honestly, that could be 2 scenes. That could be 2 scenes, and the rest for me will be pure enjoyment.
Yeah, one of mine is exactly that, and the way I will phrase it, which is what my heart wants, is however many X-Men characters we get starting from this movie, my checklist is I want them to look like the cartoon.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking at you, Wolverine. Yeah. Yellow and blue. I'm looking at you, Rogue. And you better be Southern.
Better be Southern. You better be jacked.
And then the second thing on my checklist for this is I would like to see some information about what Wong has been up to.
Well, yeah, because especially in Shang-Chi, why is he in tournaments doing betting and everything?
Yeah. What's he doing? And he's running off during Spider-Man. What Wong is up to some stuff. This is Wong's franchise. I want to know where he's been.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Disney says she wants White Vision. That could totally be a thing. We don't know where he is. He's like Moon Knight. We don't know when or where he's going to pop up next.
I'm very happy that actually we're seeing heroes kind of share. Desi, you bring up a good point. I'm happy that we're seeing heroes share the spotlight a little bit. Thor Ragnarok was Thor and Hulk. And then we got the introduction of Valkyrie. And Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, I love that we're seeing Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange doing kind of like a buddy cop movie. I'm totally down for that. Very excited. And I hope future movies, they all have that. I honestly, I'm getting a little, I wouldn't say tired, but I'm getting a little fatigued. I'm getting a little fatigued when it's all about the one character, because there's so much fun you can have. The Marvel team-up comics are so much fun.
Yes.
And the point is that the universe is so big now, you can't really afford to focus on one person because there's so much overlap. There's so much overlap. And that's another reason why WandaVision was so good, because there's so much overlap. And I think that's also why Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of hurts a little bit, because again, it's very isolated. It's a very isolated experience. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I agree with that 1,000%, buddy. Because it's like you've earned the right to have overlap now. You have earned it. You have done the work. It's there. It's beautiful. Everybody loves it. You've earned it. You can go, if you want to see movies that don't have overlap, you can watch literally any other movie. But
you watch a DC movie.
You can watch it. Hey, there you go. Zing. Wow. DC, you want some aloe for that burn? This needs it. You're right. There's only so many years that you can, like, you want to start building these characters as much as you can, put the overlap, have them be part of it. We will not be disappointed if Hawkeye shows up in Miss Marvel. We won't. We'll be like, yay, this is fun. That's why I love Marvel United, the board game, so much, because Marvel is all about endless combinations.
That's it. All right. Well, with that being said,
that's Moon Knight.
That's Moon Knight.
The finale of Moon Knight. Thank you so much, Moon Knight, for being an amazing show. Thank you so much, Oscar Isaac. And thank you so much, Ryan, for being an amazing co-host.
Thank you, Fantasia. Thank you, Oscar Isaac. Thank you, cast and crew, for bringing together Moon Knight. And the director, Mohammed, you did
yeah, man,
a beyond fantastic job. You should be very proud of yourself. And of course, Kevin Feige, I love you. I hope one day that I find out you're a relative or something. Totally give us a call. We would be happy to have you on the stream. And you know what? I've seen a lot of people interview you, and the questions I have aren't about what's to come. The questions I have are what you've built and how you've built it.
See? We're not just like drooling fanboys. There's some merit to what he's gonna ask you. There's some meat on those bones.
Yeah.
Call us, Kevin. And in the meantime, Kevin and the rest of you, please have a marvelous day.
We'll see you after Doctor Strange.
Woo!